Welcome back to r/neighbors from hell, where people share stories about their crazy neighbors. And if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community. And without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. The first one is titled HOA forced me to tear down my white picket fence and did not allow me to protect my autistic son. My local HOA seems to have a big thing with the neighborhood looking as uniform as possible. I can understand that to a degree, but also they need to realize that sometimes special circumstances need to take more importance than that. Now, my son is 5 years old and has autism, so for him things are not exactly as easy to explain to him as it would be explaining it to other kids in the neighborhood. One thing that he had been doing constantly was getting out of the house and running right into the street. He could not understand the concept of cars hitting him and needing to be careful and staying on the lawn. One time he managed to get out of the front door when I was bringing something in from the car, and I saw him in his PJs running into the middle of the street. I had to drop everything to grab him and saw a car was going down the street at that moment. I knew that I needed to protect my son in addition to trying to work on teaching him about safety. And while of course locking the front door would always be the first line of defense, it worried me to think that it was still possible for him to just get out of that door and then be able to get right into the street. Because of that problem, I wanted to install a gate and fence around the front of my property so that even if he got out of the front door, he would be stopped by the fence. Or, of course, as a kid, he would want to play outside, and this way he could without me needing to be ready every 2 seconds to sprint and stop him from running into the street. Now that I got that out of the way, let me go back to talk about what this has to do with the HOA. Since nobody else has a fence, I needed to fill out an application and wait to get permission from them to build the fence. I make sure to highlight the fact that I don't want it for the looks of it. I wanted to protect my autistic son. I heard nothing back, and the rules state that if I didn't get anything telling me that I couldn't within 30 days, it was just as good as getting told yes. Still, I was cautious and waited 60 days before I finally decided that they must not have cared and had the fence built in my yard. Now I just want to take a moment to say that I still wanted my property to look good, and the fence that I picked out was not crazy or anything. It was a white picket fence that matched the rest of my house. This way it looked like it belonged there, and I had a professional install it, so everything looked really good. It was not long before I kept getting messages from the HOA that my fence was not allowed and giving me fines. I was actually a little bit worried because I know from other stories that the HOA can be brutal, and I did not want anything bad to happen about them. I wanted to be proactive, and I sent back a letter explaining about the 30-day period of not hearing anything back and telling them again about my son. I got no response from them except for more fines and even a note saying that if I didn't remove my fence, I was going to have my house foreclosed. While I knew they probably didn't have that power, I was terrified and did not know what to do. The fines kept coming in, and I was finally given a letter saying that I was going to be taken to court by them for violating the rules. I ended up having to take the fence down while they took me to court, and I was stuck trying to defend myself. Keep in mind, this entire time I was trying to contact any member of the HOA and getting fully ignored by them. I did not feel comfortable going to one of their homes or anything and wanted it to be done professionally. I don't know if they thought ignoring me was going to make their case stronger, or if they lost my application and thought I never filed one. I really wanted to get this settled out of court, but it didn't seem like that was going to happen, so I was forced to get a lawyer and go up against them and their HOA lawyer. At this point, as much as I wanted to get the green light to reinstall my fence, I had bigger problems to worry about. The fines had added up to over $1,000 at this point, which was money I did not have. Plus, if they could get me kicked out of my house, then me and my son would have nowhere to go. Even just to go to court, I had to drive an hour away to drop my son off at my mother's house. When it was going on, I'm not going to lie, I did not fully know what was going on. I'm not great at understanding legal talk, and that is the main reason that I got a lawyer. They were showing the papers that I signed and agreed to when I moved into the HOA and highlighting the parts that involved my fence. Then they showed pictures of my fence and how the fines they sent were perfectly acceptable in these guidelines. I was scared, and then the judge asked me to explain why I had built the fence in the first place without getting the approval from the HOA. I basically told him the whole story, and when the fact my son was autistic dropped, it was as if everything changed. I guess they didn't bother to tell their lawyer that detail, but mine was using it to his full advantage. He said that because my son had a disability, his needs were protected by the ADA laws, and that overrode anything that I signed with an HOA for. Then he said that their repeated letters without giving me any chance for communication was considered harassment, and that I was persuaded with fear to take the fence down after all of that. It was obvious their lawyer had no way to counter the fact that the fence was to stop my son from running out into the street and putting himself and others in danger. We won at the end of the day, and the fines were basically thrown away. There was still one issue though that needed to be resolved, and that was the fact that they had made me take down the fence. A fence that was not exactly cheap to have a professional put up in the first place. The lawyers both agreed that if I did not pursue any of the individuals for harassment, then they would use the funds from HOA fees and use it to rebuild my fence. Honestly, that was perfectly fine by me, and before I knew it, my son was able to run around in the front yard again without being in danger. I honestly don't know why they were so against the fence, because it was not like it stuck out like a sore thumb or anything. The HOA is pretty quiet in our neighborhood overall, and I really hope that is the last encounter I'm going to have with them. And yeah, Ripe Stars, we have read so many HOA stories now. I'm really curious, what was your favorite HOA story of all time? Probably for me, one of the most awful, so to say, HOA stories was the one where an HOA sold a soldier's home while he was deployed. Because if I remember correctly, they put a lien on his house or something and he was unable to pay the fees, if I remember correctly. That story was just outrageous. Anyway, if you enjoy the HOA stories, I would really appreciate it if you could post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support my channel. Thank you so much in advance. And the next one was posted by our beloved Captain Dropbear on our own subreddit r/ripestories, and it is titled "A New Gang, the IGCs move into the neighborhood, police are worried a turf war is starting." Well, this is another tale from the life and times of a Dropbear. I hope you like it. My daughter reminded me of it today. As always, only Ripe has permission on mobile, my grammar is bad, deal with it, etc. So, having purchased a new house close to multiple schools, kindergarten, primary, intermediate and high schools all next to each other, I set about tidying up my property, meeting the neighbors, etc. I would have many after-work drinks and chats with my awesome older neighbors in mine or his garage as we helped each other fix things up. Now, Fred, as I will call him, took pride in his property and its nice white panel fence. Every couple of days I would help him wash sand and repaint where some little ratbag had tagged his fence with their signature. Well, this continued for months until that fateful day I finished work early and caught the little bugger in the act. Well, you are correct, my friend, I tagged that little bugger back. I gave him a nice mustache and tagged his baseball jacket with the big letters IGC front and back and sent him on his way and waited for Fred to get home. I told Fred and we proceeded to clean his fence once more and then sit around laughing and having a few drinks. 2 hours later the police pull up, look at Fred's nice clean newly painted fence and then walk down the drive to talk to us. "Officer, hi, we had a report about a gang attack out front of your house earlier. What can you tell us about a new gang called the IGCs? Us? The who's? Officer, the IGCs. There is a new gang moving into the neighborhood. They are, insert American gang who wear a certain color, affiliated. Us? What? Officer, we want to know if you saw anything or know anything about them and where they live in the neighborhood. Fred, no. Don't know of any gang by that name. Only thing that happened earlier was that the same little ratbag that tags my fence got caught by my nice neighbor here. Me? Oh bugger, thanks Fred, that was a big bus you threw me under. Me? Yes, officer. I caught the little ratbag in the process of spray painting Fred's fence, so I unfortunately made a rash decision and tagged him front and back and a nice little mustache. And then I let him run away crying like a little piggy wee all the way home. Officer: so you're a member of this gang, the IGCs? Me? What? No. IGC, short for I got caught. Officer goes from serious look to smile. Oh. Bigger smile and what looks like tears in eyes and chuckle in voice. IGCs, I got caught. Well then, I think I will call the station. Heads back to car. Fred giving me a silly looking hand sign. IGCs bro, don't mess with us copper. And then starts laughing. I start laughing and doing some silly looking hand sign. IGCs for life bro. Officer came back down the drive. Right then, I have spoken to the station and his parents brought him in and I'm afraid I need to charge you with assault. Me? Oh, pluck me. Okay, mind if I go lock my house and grab my keys, leave a note for the wife before you take me away? Fred, so you got the little rat bag. Okay, I want to press charges for the tagging. I have a whole folder full of photos of his handiwork. Let me get it. Officer: yes, you can go lock up and what folder of photos? Fred: every time my fence gets tagged, I take a photo, put it in a folder and then clean the fence. That little rat bag has cost me a lot of time and money cleaning and repainting. I head home, lock up, change into better clothing for spending the night in a cold holding cell and write my wife a note telling I've been arrested and to talk to Fred and walk back over. I am ready, officer. Thank you. Officer on radio: yes, that is correct, sir. Property owner has 330 photos of the same tag dated and timestamped where little ratbag has tagged his property and wants to press charges. The neighbor has returned and ready to come to the station to be charged for the assault. Radio: stand by, we still have them here. I will inform parents we are arresting little ratbag for tagging. Wait till I contact you back. Officer: standing by, sir. Officer to us: right, I hope you heard that. Fred is pressing charges on their son, but will drop them if they drop charges on you. The station commander is handling it personally. Big smile. I got caught. I think I know what station commander is up to as well. This will be fun. Radio: parents agreed to deal and we are doing paperwork once signed. Give neighbor a warning to not do it again and let him go. Stand by on other matter. Officer: right, you heard him. Consider yourself warned. Me: look, I'm happy to be arrested, no big deal. That little ratbag needs to pay for what he has done. Officer smiling: that's all sorted. Fred smiling: I hope this works. Me confused. Radio: confirm, little ratbag is being arrested for 329 counts of tagging. Please bring evidence back to station. Sounds of shouting and a scuffle in the background. Fred: it worked! Officer, told your station commander, understood your intention. Me: what the pluck just happened? Radio: please advise neighbors that we have arrested the father as well for making threats and collect trespassing forms from them. Officer: copy station. Officer goes to the car to collect an evidence bag and trespassing forms. Me: Fred? Fred, tell you later. Okay, I have completed the forms. Just sign here on all 3 copies. Hands us a copy each, one for you, one for us, and we will serve the other on the father and son when I get back to the station. Fred, if you can put the photos and receipts in the evidence bag, please. Now then, gentlemen, have a good night, and one last thing. He makes the same silly hand sign me and Fred did earlier. IGCs for life, bro. You have no idea how much fun we are going to have with the rookie who took the initial report over this. Me and Fred, same silly sign. IGCs for life, man. Me: what the heck, Fred? Fred: well, after you left, I said I would drop the tagging charge in this one instance if they dropped the charges against you. This one instance. That station commander understood my meaning instantly. And hence, only 329 charges, not 330. I think we owned that man a drink or two. Me: and here I thought you had thrown me under the bus. Fred: IGCs for life, bro. Followed by more laughing. Yours, Captain Dropbear. PS, when I said my daughter reminded me of this today, well, she caught her son tagging, so she did the exact same thing. Gave the grandson a little mustache, wrote IGC front and back, and left him to walk all the way home. Later his dad took him back to the person's property and made him apologize and wash and clean the person's fence and paint it over. PSS. Why? Because Fred would occasionally shout out, making that silly hand sign, "Oi, Captain Dropbear, IGCs for life, bro," much to the confusion of my kids, until he told them the story. Rest in peace, Fred, you old bugger. IGC for life, my friend. And yeah, ripe stars, I'm curious, I know that some of you are living in a house and you possess your own property, and I'm curious if any people have ever tagged, as Mr. Dropbear called it, your property. And if so, have you caught these people? What did you do with them? Let us know in the comments. The next one is titled, Guess You Lost the Job. An interesting coincidence happened today when I was stocking shelves at my side job and two girls decided to shoplift a few items, and my supervisor asked them at the door if they were going to pay for those items. They were petty items, as this was at a Dollar Tree where everything is $1.25. They proceeded to call my manager a racist a-hole and a bitch. All three of them, the two girls and my soft-voiced manager, were black. They walked out with the items because, as many people know, retail employees can be sued for physically stopping you for petty theft unless you are a properly designated security guard. We have been getting ravaged lately by theft, and our location is getting flack from regional for low margins as our hands are tied. The coincidence came when me and a coworker who managed it decided to grab a bite together at my other job where I could get us the employee discount. My coworker noticed after we walked in that the same two girls were sitting across the lobby. I chuckled and we started eating when one of them was called over by my manager there for an interview to begin. Then the other one interviewed. After they were done and walked out, I motioned my manager over and explained the incident that happened less than 2 hours prior. My coworker backed me up and she was very happy to dodge those two bullets. They are no longer under consideration for a position. And the next one is titled, I quit my job with a bang. Long story short, I've been transferred to a team with bad statistics, bad workflow, attitude, bad everything. It came to the point that when I said to a colleague, please get back to work, there is a backlog, it blew into a fight how I'm a princess who thinks she's better than the rest. I had troubles blending in with this team. I work and I don't mind it. I hate nagging and complaining. Don't like your job? Okay, cool that you let me know, but you are in here at your own wish. Besides, one time is enough. After a year and a half of arguments, attempts to tell HR how I ruined the team for making them work, I left my notice at my manager's desk. For the last 3 months of my notice, I've been working extremely hard, giving my 150%. Our higher-ups raised monthly targets 3 times already and will do it once again, but this time they will not achieve it then. They have never achieved them before I came. Petty, very much. Do I care? No. For everything they have done to me, they deserve it. People aged 25 to 40 acting like a bunch of lazy high school bullies. And ripe stars, with this we have reached the end of the video. However, if you still cannot get enough of my content, then I would highly suggest to check out my endless binge watch playlist, which will soon show up in the left corner of the screen. In addition, I would really appreciate it if you could not only subscribe to the channel but also turn on the bell notifications, which you can do by clicking on the little bell icon right next to the subscribe button. This will help my channel tremendously, and this will make sure that you don't miss any of my videos. Furthermore, if you want to see additional ripe content that I don't post on YouTube, then I would suggest to head on over to patreon.com/ripeyoutube for more than 50 exclusive videos that you will not see anywhere else. Thank you so much for your amazing daily support, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.